Thank you everyone for joining us again for Sailor Week. I am here with another special guest for our interview. This is Samantha from SeraMyu Antics.
Hi!
Hi, welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me to do this.
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
For being available and agreeing. I know this will be very fun, and a lot of people use your website to find information, so I think they'll be very happy to hear about your experiences and stuff. So why don't we get started?
All right.
So what do you do currently as your day job?
I do a lot of stuff, actually. I'm kind of a Jill of all trades. I do a little bit of everything from photography and videography to sewing to running my own YouTube channel and making content for it. So I kind of have a lot of focuses, and it all just kind of converges into one, and I get by. So.
And what's the YouTube channel focus on? What it's about?
Well, it's youtube.com/AuroraPeachy, one word, and I do a lot of gaming reviews and opinions and my reaction to them. Right now, kind of focusing on Guild Wars 2, since that's a game that really means a lot to me. But with Sailor Moon Crystal starting up and all this new Sailor Moon buzz, you know, I'm really excited to start bringing Sailor Moon content to the channel. I've already done a couple reviews, like reactions to the Viz Media bringing back, doing a new dub and a new sub and re-releasing the whole thing, and so I kind of like have a reaction video to that, and it's gotten a lot of attention. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of Sailor Moon content. So I'm really excited about it.
Okay, so what sparked your interest in anime and particularly Sailor Moon?
Well, before Sailor Moon, I didn't know what anime was. You know, I didn't know the term. If I had seen it on American television, you know, I didn't know it. And it was just kind of one fateful day, I was flipping through the channels, you know, one morning before school, and caught, like, the last 10 minutes of an episode.
Yeah. And
it just, like, I was wowed. And it wasn't even, like, a special episode, it was just a monster of the day. But there was something about it that, you know, as we all know, the show is just like magical. You know, it can just get to you. And ever since then, I set up the VCR to record every single episode. You know, kids nowadays don't even know what a VHS is,
yes. But
you know, I would set it to record, and after school, I'd come home and watch it, and it was religious.
Wow.
Ever since then.
Good.
So I kind of got myself into it.
That must have been in the 90s, like the mid-90s?
Late summer of 1997 is when I first started, when I discovered Sailor Moon, which is actually the year it ended. The anime, anyway. When the anime ended in Japan, and they were airing the first 2 seasons here, and that's when I discovered it. Yep.
Good. Oh, wow. You remember that date, just right there. Like, I can't...
I always said, because I started recording them, I could actually go back and look up the air date and find out the exact day, if I wanted to. Then I found it out.
That'd be too much research. You should put that on your page.
It would. That would be going a little too far into the obsession. Or maybe not. So,
were you a fan of musicals in general? Because I know, since you do run a website dedicated to Sailor Moon musicals, was there any sort of interest in American musical theater before that?
I was never really like a theater person, but I have always loved musicals. They're so catchy, and they get into your heart, you know, through the songs and stuff. One of my favorite movies ever is The Sound of Music. I love The Sound of Music. For how much I love musicals, I haven't actually seen a lot of them, but everyone I see, I just fall in love with, and I'm singing the songs, you know, all day long. So no direct involvement with musicals or theater, but just from watching media, you know, I do love them.
Did you have a favorite character? Who was your favorite, I guess I should say Guardian now instead of Senshi or Soldier?
I know, this debate on what should we call them now. I will forever call them Sailor Senshi,
yes.
which is not wrong.
Yeah.
because even though they've kind of changed the translation to they want the translation to be Guardian, they still say Sailor Senshi.
Yeah.
Like in the interviews and the press conferences that they've done in Japan, they still audibly say, when they don't say Guardian, they say Sailor Senshi. Still, it's just kind of the translation that has changed, and that makes me really happy that they're still staying, you know, tried and true to Senshi, because that's always been my preference to say. Although I do love Sailor Soldier, and Sailor Guardian doesn't quite roll off the tongue as well, in my opinion. But I love it just the same. But anyway, sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. I like these answers. They're very well thought out. There's a lot of depth to them. I mean, this
is my dream, to sit and talk about Sailor Moon with someone, in my opinion. So, anyway, my favorite. I love all the characters, of course, but my favorite above all is Sailor Uranus. Haruka is just. When I was in high school, which was like the height of, like, my world was Sailor Moon when I was in high school, and here you go,
yes.
Just for this question, I was gonna bring them because Haruka and Michiru together are my favorite, but Sailor Uranus I was completely obsessed with. Totally had the biggest girl crush, still do, on her. So their love was just so inspiring, and there was like, just it's so beautiful in its subtlety, and just, you know, the way the anime portrayed them interacting and stuff was just, I don't know, there was something that drew me to it, and so they've always been my favorite. I love Neptune and Uranus's relationship. In the musicals, they even my favorite musical actress was Nao Takagi.
I knew it. You know what? Something told me that was my next question. And I'm
like, thing is my screen name and everything. My email address is still Takagi Nao-sama. You know, and they really played up their, you know, the relationship between the two, Nao and Yuka, and it was just, everything about it is beautiful.
What did you think of Kimura Sanae? I think that's her name, the first.
And I liked her. I'm not the biggest First Stage fan, but I thought she did a fantastic job as well. But there will always be a special place in my heart for Nao and Yuka.
Now, what did you think of her successor, which I don't remember quite her name? The one that did Mugengaku Kaiteban and the SRD. And then the one girl who was Sailor Star Maker and then became Uranus in like the last one, 2005. SKS, oh my gosh. SKDK.
Uchida Asako was after Nao, and then Nakayama Akiko.
There we go, yeah.
Was after that.
What'd you think of those two?
I think they did a great job. There's really nothing, you know, wrong I saw with their performances. It was just simply they came after Nao, so there was no competition there. Nao was the best Uranus ever, so. But I mean, they did a great job. I don't really have any specific opinions of them other than they did a great job.
But still, like, Nao is the only one. Nao
is a god to me. So there's there can be no no competition. I'm a hopeless Nao fangirl. So.
So I know you list a lot of Sailor Moon tracks on your website from the musicals. Is there one that you especially like? We're talking like Destined Couple, Ginga no Sanctuary. Like, what is the one that you could listen to all the time?
That's so funny. I do love Ginga no Sanctuary. But my favorite Mew song has always been Link. The original Harafumina version with her stage, that, I don't know why, but that song's always just kind of, I don't know, it's always, I love how it sounds. I don't. There's no explanation. I just love how it sounds, and it's beautiful. And I love the Kaguya Island musicals. Those are one of my favorites. So having it be the theme song to those, makes it a little more special. And Link has always been my favorite. Although that's so funny because Ginga no Sanctuary is also another one of my favorites. And Millennium, I love Millennium, Koi no Senshi ja Iraranai, because I love when they do things like the Senshi are each featured, and they all come forward, and they're all featured in that song, and they kind of have their own little solo. And the first time I saw that was just like I fangirled inside, because that was the coolest thing to me.
And it doesn't seem like they did that a lot. I mean, there were times when they would separate them into the different inners, outers, and the starlights, something like that. But it was never, okay, Mercury, here you go, Mars, here you go. With all 13 of them doing that kind of thing.
Over the years, they all got their own solo songs. You have Miss Dream, you have, Zigzag Slash, and all the Inner Senshi songs, and but then of course Neptune and Uranus are always put together. You have Destined Couple, and which I was so disappointed when I heard the name Destined Couple. I was like, they get a love song. They get a love song. Oh my gosh, I was freaking out. And then it's not quite a love song, but but they still get their duet. So that was nice. And Tuxedo Common has a lot of really cool songs, I gotta say.
Sometimes they're a little too similar to me, I must say, especially because they're all that up-tempo, fast, electronic.
They are, yeah.
Some of the earlier first stage ones had more of that romantic, I want to say Latin-flavored, very organic instruments quality to it, so I really liked that part of it. But then as we get to the third and fourth, and it's always, he comes in, does this Rose thing, he fights, he sings this up-tempo song, he loses, then SeraMyu comes. I mean, there was like such a pattern to it that I was like, oh, okay, this could be a little bit, I don't know, more deeper.
Right. Although Shirota Yu had a slow song. It wasn't a Tuxedo Common song, but it was a Mamoru song, and it was a slow. I think
it's Kaze no Shijin.
Yes, Kaze no Shinjin.
Shinjin, yeah.
I've got my reference page over here. Kaze no Shijin. That is a beautiful song. Yeah, I think.
I wish they had more of that for that character. That would have been good. But let's get to SeraMyu Antics and the website itself. So on the website, it said that you started it with your sister Brittany.
Yes.
And that one page where you were talking about how kind of quirky and weird sometimes musicals could be when they had the different characters, or how they had to translate what happened in the anime and manga to the live stage, and it's like, well, that looks pretty crappy sometimes. But
that Princess Serenity dress girl is crazy.
What was, I guess, why did y'all just say, let's put this on the internet, let's get this out there?
At the time, I was just experimenting with the whole making websites thing, and and sharing my information and my opinions about things. It was brand new to me. This is gonna freak out all you kids, all you young whippersnappers watching this, but the year that I started watching Sailor Moon, which was when I was 13, was when I discovered Sailor Moon. That was coincidentally the same year that I learned of the internet's existence. I didn't know before then that the internet was even a thing.
Yeah.
We just didn't have it. And of course, my very first internet search ever was Sailor Moon. As a result. But so it was all kind of happening around the same time. And so I wanted to, I had been writing fan fiction. So I, uploaded my fan fiction to places, and it was like this sharing of my opinions and sharing of my passions. I'm like, I want to do more of this. So watching the musicals with my little sister, and back then it was all unsubtitled. We were watching all of these raw. And so naturally, you know, when you're enjoying the characters, you're enjoying the visuals and the stage, but we just had to make up what they were saying in our heads, you know? So, you know, we would, you know, sit back and watch, and we sat and watched them over and over and over. And after a while, you start noticing the weird stuff. I mean, they can get pretty weird. Yeah. So we made up nicknames for all the characters, and we made up all these stories and everything. And we would watch the fan con, the fan appreciation events, and those were extra weird, you know. And so we had all these jokes and everything. And so naturally, I wanted to share that with people. And at the same time, experiment with web design and simply just how do you put something on the web, and it was nowhere near as easy as it is nowadays. Yeah. So it was all a learning process, and that process was fun to me. So combine that with, you know, the fun and craziness of Mew and you know, and sharing this with my little sister, it just all came together, and you know, turned into, let's put some crazy screenshots, let's put some crazy opinions next to them, and see if anybody cares. And it didn't matter if anybody cared. It just mattered that it was up there, and, you know, I was learning something in the process, so it was educational as well.
Good. A little bit of column A, column B, fun and education.
Absolutely. There was no plan. There was no set plan. It was just, this is fun. Let's do this.
Good. So when did it change from that experimental phase to, okay, now I want to actually put the information in there, and I want, were you ever thinking, like, I want people to come here and be like, oh, this is this person, now I know this person's name, or who wrote this, or what was that song that came out that I couldn't read because it wasn't subtitled? Like, when did you want to become, or did you want to become a database for the musical information?
Like I said, I never really set out to do that in the first place. I kind of just, I wanted to, while I was learning all these techniques, I had to learn, you know, getting screenshots from a VHS tape, you know, capturing footage from a VHS tape. And luckily, my dad was also interested in all that. So he had, you know, when he got a capture card, it was like, oh, what's this? You know, let's put it in a VHS, let's hook it up to the VCR and take some screenshots. And I said, I can share this. And there wasn't a ton of SeraMyu sites on the web. There's still not a ton.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, I can share these screenshots that I took, you know? So I would take screenshots and I would put them up there. And it just very slowly grew. I got obsessed with collecting the pamphlets, the program books. And Dad had a scanner. So I started scanning in the photos, and I said, I can put these scans up on the website to share with people. And it was that kind of the visual media that I focused on sharing and digitizing and putting out there for everyone, because I don't speak Japanese. I can't translate things. I can't, you know, the lists of cast member names and everything is all gotten from other websites, you know, that do know Japanese and you know, could provide that information. So slowly over time, a lot of the, you know, the pictures and the music and everything, every single music, unless it's like ripped directly and it's credited to the people, every single official track I ripped from my own CDs. I have every single musical CD. So it was like I felt that I could contribute something to Mew and to getting other people into it, because I loved it so much that I wanted other people to get into it, and so I wanted to share all of that. And so I did whatever I could, and slowly over time, I got a lot of people saying, well, I have this, I have lyric translations. Ellie of Miss Dream came to me and said, I have lyric translations. Here, put my lyric translations up on your site and share them, you know. And, you know, she's even hosted Antics a couple times when I didn't have anywhere to host it. And, you know, so slowly over time, people would send in their fan art and their audio rips and everything. And, you know, this is the live version and this is the CD version. And it just kind of blew up into, I want to put every single piece of media, SeraMyu media, on this site to share with people that I possibly can, because it was very hard to find it otherwise.
Oh. So first it started out as like almost like a family project, you and your sister,
Yeah.
and you and your dad. Wow, and then it got your friends involved. I mean, this is really a community, a website that came from a community of people who wanted to help out. And so it's nice to hear that it just wasn't your number one plan. It just sort of organically happened.
Not at all. And through it, I was learning web design, and you know, I want to redesign it again because, you know, I kept being, you know, not happy with it. And so what's an easier way to get all this media out there to people? And so it just kind of kept growing and growing, and there was no set plan from the beginning. But I'm very happy with where it's ended up, and I hope to, you know, keep going with it.
Yeah. We are very happy that it exists too, because I must say
so
that,
happy.
When I got interested in the musicals, back in the early 2000s, and I was looking for information, I was like, you know, who are these people? What was happening? What are the musicals I don't know about? Because I think at the time they were still doing the third stage. So that was the new musical, the Miyuki Moon, Transylvania no Mori, and so I was like, well, no one has that information. Let me see all the stuff before that. And when I came across your website, I was like, oh wow, this girl has all this stuff. They have all these songs, and then I started downloading everything. So my whole collection came from you. So I totally have to thank you for having that. And
that's so great to hear.
And just knowing who was acting, and so like, oh, I do like this person. What's their name? What else have they done? Kind of thing. And so yeah, you really just, I don't know, inspired me or developed my love for the musicals too with what you had up there.
And that was what it all started out to be, was wanting to share the love and share the passion and get other people into it. So mission succeeded.
So when the fan subs started coming out, I'm sure you've seen Cruel Angels and of course Miss Dreams, currently ones. What were I know you don't speak Japanese or haven't studied it formally, I would guess, but...
I've had some college classes, but that only takes you so far if you're not, like, living in Japan and actively studying it, so so not really.
Do you have sort of an opinion on the fan subbing community, at least at the time when it first was coming out with those musicals, or is there a particular musical, for people who don't know Sailor Mew, should they start with a certain one and then branch out from there?
For someone who has never seen a musical, most of them are subtitled now from one group or another. There's a lot of group out there. Live Evil, I think Ken Yuen was the very first one. He subtitled a bunch of them a long time ago. So most of them are available from one group or another. But if you you can kind of start wherever you want. I would say start from the beginning. But if you have never seen Mew before and you're looking to get into it and just kind of see what it's about, I would say, you know, find what you think you would like. Do you want to see, you know, do you love Sailor Stars, and so you want to see a musical with the Starlights, you know, and that's your passion? Then start with one of the Stars musicals, you know. If you want to see a brand new story that is not covered in the anime or manga, you know, maybe go with Kaguya Island.
Oh, Kaguya, yeah.
Go with, you know, Kaguya Shima Densetsu. If you love vampires, and if you ever wanted to see Sailor Moon versus vampires, start with Last Dracula Jokyoku. You know, go to the Miyuki stage.
What a weird, like, just jump.
I know. If you want to go straight to vampires, Sailor Moon's got that covered. It's called Transylvania no Mori.
Sailor Moon means twilight. They fight.
Yeah, so hopefully, you know, I try to make SeraMyu Antics kind of a database as far as if you're trying to find what you were into. You know, it's all there in some form. You can kind of find out information on whichever one you want. I find a lot of sites lists of the musicals incomplete, unfortunately, and some will say we've subtitled all the musicals, we're done, and I go, you're nowhere near. There's like 20 of them, and you know, I want people to know what exists out there, because if you don't know it exists, then you can't go search it out and watch it and possibly fall in love with it. So that's why I try to keep a very up-to-date list. I just recently added La Petite Étranger, there's a lot of foreign names I'm trying to remember here, and it's been a while. I just added that. It's not even out yet, and I just added it to the list just so people know it exists. And so that's really, that's another thing I strive for, is to, if I see someone who's online who says, I'm looking for more, I've only seen these, and I'll say, there's many more, here's the list, go here and look at the list, and these are the ones you can search out. And I kind of feel like there's not enough, information out there as far as, these musicals exist, and, people, a little pet peeve of mine, I'm sorry, I'm ranting.
No.
A little pet peeve of mine is when someone says, okay, a lot of the musicals had revisions. So you have, Transylvania no Mori, and you have Transylvania no Mori Kaiteiban, which is the revision to it. And someone will say, well, watch the revision and you don't need to worry about the original. No. I like Transylvania no Mori way better than I like the revision of it.
Do I? Thank you. Finally, someone.
It's like, no. They're very similar. They have a lot of similar songs. They have a similar storyline, but they are completely different. If you look at all the little subtleties and you look at all the little, the characters, they'll add characters. So the original will be, don't not watch an original just because there's a revision, please. They're different.
Yeah.
This is the kind of information that, I want people to know about. I'm very passionate about educating people on Mew and what's available.
That's good. That's a really good point, because a lot of times when they do the revisions, they do revise, move parts of the storyline around, and sometimes to make it fit better in their opinion, and sometimes it does not work that way, or they'll add characters they couldn't add in the first one for some reason, like in Black Lady. It didn't have birth year in the first one, and then the revision it did.
Right.
And I think there was also, it wasn't Harsh St. Cry, wasn't in the first one. It was in the revision.
They'll add songs, they'll add characters.
It's a new theater, so it's different kind of recording structure.
They'll take out scenes that were in the first one, so you have to watch the first one to see those scenes, and
I know there's so much out there. I love it.
There's a lot of them. It'll take a while to watch them, but like I said, find if you need it subtitled. Most of them are subtitled. I actually just updated my links in the video section of Antics to if I don't host it, I will link to a YouTube version of it where you can watch it, usually subtitled. And like I said, just find, start with a storyline that you think that you will like, and start from there. Get used to it, because Mew is a little out there. It takes some getting used to, especially if you're not used to theater and you're not a theater person. You're not a musical buff. It can take some getting used to, but once you kind of, get past the crazy costumes, which I'm in love with. I know some people say those costumes are outrageous. I don't know how I can watch that, So, get used to it in a storyline that you like, and then go seek out more. And you'll find yourself falling in love with the actors and actresses too.
Yeah.
And that can be a very big reason to seek out more.
Like now. So,
like now, and Hikari, my sister was absolutely obsessed with Ono Hikari.
Oh, so was my sister. That's so weird.
Really?
So when the musicals were on hiatus for those, oh my god, it's almost 10 years. It was like 8 years.
Yeah.
Something like that. What were you doing with the website at that time? Were you just sort of going back, making sure your information was correct from the past ones, or...?
The website is far from complete, unfortunately. There's still a ton of lyrics to put up. There's still a ton of, there's still pictures that haven't been scanned and all this stuff. And so I just kind of slowly tried to keep it up to date, kind of refine everything. I constantly go through and make sure everything's spelled right, make sure all the names are correct, So it was just a lot of refining. Searching out new fan art and linking to it, just sharing anything, especially anything fan created. People would still submit. That's when I got a lot of submissions of the live versions of the songs. People went through or people would just record the entire musical, so people could download it, put it on their iPods, and just listen to the musical while they're doing their thing.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of fan-submitted stuff like that. One of my favorite things is the demotivationals. If you can dig those out of the site, I think in the fun stuff section, people would always be making those and submitting those, and so I would update it. And so, like I said, there's still a lot on it that needs to be completed. And I'm very slowly working on that, and obviously I have a lot of passions. I'm a very big gamer, so gaming takes up a lot of my time, and now that I have my YouTube channel, that takes up a lot of my time. I have way too many hobbies, so my attention is always in about 16 different places at once. But I never ever want to give up on Antics because Mew is such a big part of my life. Sailormoon is such a huge part of my life that I don't want to ever just give up on it and let it sit. So however slow the process is, I would love to keep updating it, keep improving it, keep adding the little bits of information that I can to it.
So you are still taking like fan submissions of different things to put on the
website? Absolutely. I'm not, unfortunately, I'm not super active on the forums anymore, but I know there are still people who post on the Antics forums, which is still hosted by Miss Dream. Thank you, Ellie. She knows all the things about the PHP, and I do not know anything about it. So managing a forum, like when something broke, was just this insane task to me because knowing nothing about it. So I would just say, Ellie, something's broken. Can you fix it? And she'd just be like, okay, fixed. How'd you do that? And with all my different hobbies, I'm not super active on the forums currently. But if people want to submit something, I will still, get a notification that there's a private message there if you want to submit artwork or demotivational posters or anything. If music, really anything, and I will definitely share that. Help you share that with people.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
So let's move on to Sailormoon Crystal and the brand new announcement for the new anime adaptation. I'm sure you've seen the preview trailer and
absolutely,
like that, and heard the cast list and all that stuff.
Yep, seen it, cried.
What are your
saw it
opinions?
Again, cried again.
What are your opinions? I guess because a lot of people are on the fence about the art style and some of the voice actors. I mean, of course, Kotono Mitsuishi is coming back. I'm so very happy to hear her voice coming back for that. But some of the other Senshi are all brand new voice actors. Yeah. Do you have sort of any opinions or expectations for the new adaptation?
First of all, I am in love with it and everything about it. Extra excited that Kotono Mitsuishi is coming back as Sailor Moon. That just made my world. Oh my gosh. As far as all the other voices changing, I knew they weren't going to get back everyone. I mean, it was a question whether they were going to get Kotono back.
Yeah.
But I haven't I haven't actively gone out and sought out information on the new voice actresses, so I don't really have an opinion of them until I actually hear them in the character roles. But I think that it is fantastic that pretty much everything now is being directly approved by Naoko Takeuchi.
Yeah.
That is incredible. I mean, as far as we've heard anyway, when they were making the first anime, she didn't have a lot of input, and they just kind of made it. She was busy working on the manga, of course. So that is amazing that for this incredible revival, they are getting her approval on everything. I heard that she is approving the new dub that Viz is doing of the original anime. She's actually approving their voices.
Wow.
That's what I've heard. I read that in an interview. So whether that is fact or not, I don't know. But that's what I heard. And so she's there when they cast the musicals. She's there when they casted all the voice actresses for Crystal. So that, first of all, you can't really have any complaints about the casting when the creator approves the voice of the character.
Yeah.
As for the art style, I know I have heard a lot of things about the art style. I think the thing we all need to remember is that Crystal is not meant to be a replacement for the 90s anime. No. It is a new adaptation of the original manga. It is going to stand by itself as a new anime series. So you can personally, it's hard to say, the anime, the 90s anime meant so much to us, and it's part of my childhood, and it's part of me, and that's how I see the characters. That's fine. Don't let that love and that nostalgia ruin Crystal for you. Take Crystal as it is and embrace it for what it is. And I just think that if you love Sailor Moon, why try and hate something because it's different and new? I mean, why not just love something for what it is? You can have opinions on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it will take some getting used to, that's for sure, because we're not used to seeing the characters like this. But I'm just trying to embrace it. And and I like it. It's beautiful. It's colorful. It's bright. It's more like it's dainty. It's flowy. The tiny tidbits we've seen so far. But I love it. I think it's wonderful, and I'm so excited to see more.
And what do you think of, the theme song that they previewed during the trailer? Because I know a lot of people are truly, truly missing Moonlight Densetsu, and because that was in almost every season of the anime except Stars. And so it's like this brand new song, which is more contemporary in the style of modern day J-pop.
Yes.
Is throwing a lot of people off because they weren't expecting that. And I think even the composer who's doing the background music for the show is the one who does Naruto and Fairy Tail as well, who does a lot more atmospheric rather than melodic type of background music. So it's going to be completely different in terms of the feel for each episode and for this adaptation.
Right.
Are you thinking about that because you listen to a lot of SeraMyu music? Which definitely was influenced by the anime in terms of how they constructed the songs, how they had themes running throughout the 2.5-hour shows. Is there anything you're hoping that the music will do for this new anime, or do you not like or hate the new opening song? Like, what's going through your head about that?
I was on my first couple listens. I'll admit I was very surprised by the new theme song. Again, the little we've heard of it. It was very. I was like, these are like kids singing this song. This is nowhere near as legendary as Moonlight Densetsu. But you know what? It got stuck in my head, and I had it in my head for like a week, and it really got catchy, and I really started to like it. Mm-hmm. I think one thing to remember is that, we had Moonlight Densetsu, and even remakes of it for the first 4 seasons of the original anime. And then we had Sailor Stars, which came out of nowhere and had its own song. And it was much more upbeat. It was much, kind of high energy, a lot more high energy than Moonlight Densetsu. And you know what? Who doesn't love the Sailor Stars song? That is an epic theme. I think that once everyone gets over the shock of it's new, it's modern, we're not used to Sailor Moon being modern, and we're not used to that. So I think once that kind of shock gets over, and we just kind of, once Crystal has been around, and I think that everything will kind of start being, we'll suddenly get nostalgic for Crystal. I think that everyone's going to fall in love with it. I don't have any... I'm not familiar with the composers as far as the music, so I don't really have any expectations. I hope that there's at least a few, songs that really make you feel. It's not all super upbeat and, Yeah. I know modern anime can be very, very high energy, and we're young, and we're let's go. So I hope that there's a lot of mood, there's some mood music and some, we had, wasn't there a composer that was coming back that composed Tuxedo Mirage? Or no, or am
I think
there was an ending song that a composer I think was returning or something that I heard of, and it was a beautiful ending song. I could be wrong about that, but hopefully they will. I trust that the studios, they know Sailor Moon, they know the audience. They said that they are making this for fans of the original, as well as new fans. So I place a lot of trust in them. I think a lot of the people working on it are people who themselves grew up with Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
So I don't think that overall there might be certain things we don't like. I don't like the eyes, but I really think that they're not going to let us down overall.
Good.
I just have so much faith. I have no reason to hate it. I have no reason to hate it. I'm going to embrace it for what it is, and so I love it already, and I'm nothing but excited. Yeah. And I'm going to be recording my reactions to the episode. That's my plan anyway, and putting it on my YouTube channel. So I guarantee you there will be many, many tears.
No, I guess the last question, because I don't want to keep you for too long. We've been talking.
I'm sorry, I've been ranting way too much.
This is good to hear all of your experiences and everything about Sailor Moon that makes you feel these emotions. So this is good for everyone to know who's behind the website that they visit all the time, where they get all the information from. What was your motivation? So this is great. You can talk as much as you want. I just want to. I have all this passion for it that I usually keep quiet into myself. If I don't throw it up in text on a website. So it's like any outlet that I have to get this passion for it out that I feel, I take. So things like the live action PGSM, and of course the musicals, and even the anime had moments that strayed, actually had a lot of moments, that strayed from the manga canon storyline. Are you hoping that Crystal would sort of embrace that rather than be just a straight-up adaptation of everything that happens in those 52 acts, that they do add a little bit more or delve deeper into some of the things that weren't explored or couldn't be explored in the original manga storyline, just like with the vampires and Kaguya-shima Island and stuff like that? Should they do that in Crystal, or should they just be straight up, okay, we're gonna go straight to the manga and do that?
I think it would be okay if they stuck straight to the manga and didn't deviate from it, because I think that's something that hardcore manga fans have always wanted. I hope they don't omit characters. I hope they have the Sailor Quartet, and I hope they have, you know, the Cauldron Guardian and everything that they omitted from the manga in the original. As far as, I think, of course, they're going to do something, as every single incarnation of Sailor Moon has done, something to make it its own. You know, obviously Mew does that. Yeah. You know, they have storylines that are their own, and they have characters that are their own. Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, the live-action series, did that. You know, they added characters, and they added versions of Sailor Moon that didn't exist anywhere else. To some people's dismay. I'm not a fan of Sailor Luna.
Oh, we should have talked about that. Gosh. That's that
oh my gosh. But and the same thing as the original anime did things that distinguished itself. It was not exactly like the manga. So I think that Crystal is going to do the same thing. I hope they don't stray too far from it. I hope, like I said, if it's okay if they stick straight to the manga. But I think no matter what they do, you know, it's gonna be okay, people. It's gonna be okay. Take it for what it is and love it. I cannot stress that enough. If you judge it before it's even out, then the point in watching it, because you're not going to have fun, because you're just going to be judging it. Whereas if you just say, I'm going to accept it, I'm going to love it, then everything will be happy. But to answer your question, I hope that there is something that they put in there to make it their own, but that they don't stray too terribly far. Please, no Sailor Luna. Please.
Don't worry, there'll be a Tuxedo Artemis. They'll fix that.
I love Artemis.
Oh, it'll be great. He's gonna be fighting next to Sailor V. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so original, so brand new. I'm gonna love that part.
Tuxedo Artemis cosplays everywhere.
Well, thank you so much, Samantha, for talking with us. It was so nice.
I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, this was so great for Sailor Week, for me personally, and for all the fans out there. You can catch Samantha at her website, SeraMyu Antics, online.
.net, not .com.
.net, not .com. Remember that. For all the latest and the past, not so latest, SeraMyu information.
Mostly the past.
Mostly past. And please visit our website, akanikestra.org. Watch our SeraSymphony medley from the music from the original anime. And on June 30th, our Omake medley featuring Moonlight Densetsu and some other songs left out. Thanks again, Samantha, and we hope to see you at one of these Comic-Cons at a panel or something talking about Sailor
Absolutely.
Moon.
I would really love to do that. I need to get to conventions again.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a good day.
Bye, guys. Thank you.